Hello everybody and welcome to Cymatic TV, the energy update here on the 17th of September. Happy birthday, Dad. I've just been dowsing the line, as you can well see here now. It's very lovely, and we're coming up to the equinox period now. And then obviously in the equinox period, that's when the northern hemisphere energy reduces and the southern hemisphere increases. It's getting ready for that, what I would call like a tidal bore, like a wave that goes up a river. And that happens on every solstice and equinox as it goes through the energy lines. So as you can well see, I've seen this, I've been dowsing this line here, and it comes through here, this war memorial, and then goes up into the church, which is just there. Beautiful little church in the centre of a town, just around the corner from where I am. And just to sort of give you an idea, there's the mountains, the Pyrenees Mountains, absolutely gorgeous. And in the winter, they're all covered in snow. It's absolutely brilliant. You'll be seeing that obviously in future energy updates. So we're going to be testing the energy here, seeing what it's like, seeing what's going on basically with the energies here on this line, and see what's going on in the energies of the earth. Sorry about that. Checking out the chakra sequencing here on the line here, and just seeing what sort of the frequencies that are coming through, any chakras that are sort of like it's sticking a bit, any other ones that's a little bit overpowering, as it were, and also getting a message from the earth. One other thing we're going to be going into as well is the hurricane that happened in Libya. Obviously, a lot of people were lost and what have you, and our thoughts go out there to everyone in Libya and everything, and also on the Moroccan earthquake. So it's all been in the northern Africa sort of zone really at the moment, but it is that significant to the pole shift, because I've been talking about a hurricane hitting Europe this summer, and it finally sort of turned up, and it wasn't where I thought it was. I even talked about it in last week's energy update. Thought that there was one coming into northwest of France and the UK, but it obviously happened in the Mediterranean. So we're going to be going into that and seeing if that's signs of the pole shift and what's going on with the center of the earth, the core of the earth, in regards to the energy. Okay, so let's just do a recap, shall we? Welcome to Cymatic TV.
Don't believe, just know. Cymatic TV, turning vibration into reality.
So here we go. The energy that's been going around, and as I was talking earlier on about the earthquake in Morocco, and also the hurricane that's happening in Libya. Now, two different types of energy. Earthquake energy and hurricane energy. Hurricane energy is vertical energy. That's where it's coupling between the surface of the earth and the upper atmospheres and the electrical current, and it goes up and down through depressions and highs and lows of the climate, basically. So that's very much a vertical sort of energy. But earthquakes is very much sort of horizontal energy. So what you might have felt this week is being tied or pulled between the horizontal energy and the vertical energies. So that may have been being torn between what your gut's been telling you and what your heart's been telling you, basically. So it may have been a bit of very tiring week, and everyone seems to be saying this in my healing sessions that I've been doing. It seems to be a common thread going through, regardless of the star signs or wherever people are in their energy cycle, and it seems to be a repetitive feature, and I think this feature comes from that vertical and horizontal energies. Now let's just have a look at how hurricanes can sort of be created through the energy system and what components are needed, and are we going to see more about this on the pole shift. So here we see the Hurricane Lee, which is on the left-hand side, gradually being pulled across the Atlantic. And the other little cyclone, which is in the middle, which is sucking up all that dust particles that's coming from the Sahara, making it electrically charged, is pulling that Lee up into the region of New York. And there's a second one that sort of follows in its path, and it's been pushing across the Atlantic a lot. And this is where we come into pole shift. With this, we can sort of see that it's happening quite a lot at the moment. And when we get into full on pole shift, the hurricanes will be going from one side to the other side. So we'll be getting a lot more in the coming across into Europe than they will do across into the Americas. Now this brings us on to the hurricane that is in Libya as well. As you can see on this sequencing here, over the week that was before it, it was building up and swilling around between Greece, Italy and Northern Africa. And that energy that's sort of flying down, the wind that's coming down through Greece and etc., till all of a sudden it whacked into Libya on the, I think it was the 11th, basically. And let's just see where it comes in with the particle exchange here and see how that is being affected. Now, there was a big particles that was going up through mainline Europe, and this is what I thought was encouraging that hurricane to come into Northern Europe, but no, it appears to be blocking that hurricane coming into Northern Europe. And then once it had been sped out, the rest of the dust particles was feeding this hurricane that slammed into Liberia in over the weekend, where a lot of people lost their lives. And this is significant to pole shift, I think, more than anything else. This is what brings us to a stage where we're going to have the energies which are going to be completely inversed within us. The electrical system is going to work in a different way. Where our crown becomes our root and our root becomes our crown. So we start thinking in a very animalistic sort of way as well, as we're looking at almost our basic needs will be the things that's filling our heads. It can be a strange thing. We're going to be talking a little bit later on about the pole shift effect and the center of the earth and the core center. Has it stopped? So it's definitely changing times in the energies, and I think everybody's feeling that as well. Everyone feels that we've either come to the end of the line, or other people think we're in a real renewal cycle. I'm in the renewal cycle myself, regardless of what actually happens in the coming future. But energy is about to recycle itself through this pole shift. And how does it affect us? Well, it's actually pretty simple, really. If you imagine like your crown and your root chakra, which are the same chakra, they're no different. It's the front and the back of one chakra. And what they're doing is they're inverting as well. So the same thing is becoming between the heart and the solar plexus, and the third eye and the throat chakra with the sacrum. So there's going to be a difference of attitude that's going to be coming up as we go through this pole shift. And we'll really notice it once the hurricanes that we saw earlier on spinning in the opposite direction to what they are. The earthquakes on this, and this is where it may have been emotionally tiring this week, has been really running up into the heart chakra and really sort of like hammering the heart chakra as well. And we haven't finished. So let's, because there's more coming our way, which we've seen off the sun. So let's have a look at the sun now. As you can well see, there's been quite a few M flares during the week, and we got a side swipe from the from one of the M flares earlier on in this week that you may well see here. But there has been a filament eruption. Now, filament energy is energy for me synonymous with the transition between high solar cycle and the low solar cycle, and it is charged particles, plasma particles, that come in the direction of planets and what have you, and it is definitely coming in the direction of the Earth. Now, these plasma energies and the filament energies, I associate them with water vibration, with the element of water, which is very emotional. So, and it's due here on the 19th. So from Monday, just be very wary of your emotions. Don't let them overrun. Don't let you get yourself triggered too much in this crazy world, as it were. Just let it flow through gently more than anything else. I'm going to be also doing a special on the equinox ley lines later on this week, on the 21st. We'll see that on this channel. But I also want to just keep an eye on that sort of energy that's flowing through, and anything that does come up, I'll be noticing it, and I'll be putting out small videos on Cymatic TV during the week and giving you the first of the heads up of the vibration that's coming through, and you may then understand a lot about what is going on in yourself and in your world, as it were. So yes, that energy is due through, and it will, you know, make certain lines a lot more sort of vibrant. And these are horizontal lines, or female energy lines, really, more than the male lines, because the male lines are much more earth orientated or coronal hole orientated. So this may give us a shape up on such things as the root chakra, but also on the crown chakra, over that sort of way. It may also sort of tie into some earthquakes in Indonesia in the coming week, which you might be able to see on my map here. Okay, so just keep an eye out for that as well. Okay, so let's just see what we can get off the ley line at the moment. So this is it, just relaxing and connecting to the line. We're just going to wait for the sequencing to sort of, there, I can feel the sequencing, but I'm dropping in the middle of it, so I don't want to drop into the middle of it. There we go, we got the first connection there, and that goes straight down to the root. Blimey, it's really, really heavy down to the root there, coming up to the solar plexus. And then we've got the throat. More than the third eye, but the third eye is slightly there. And then we've got into the crown. He didn't spend a lot of time, but that there. Now down into the sacrum. Back up to the throat and the third eye. There's the heart that sort of comes through, and the crown at the same time. And then I'm starting to get the feeling back into the induction point. So basically, I think this week here is a good hard, with the energy that's coming through from the sun, I think it's going to be a good hard look at our emotional state, basically. And putting it and being very practical about it, being very logical about it. I've been talking on my sister channel, the Astro Flower, where I do tarot readings for signs and etc. And I've been talking about the logical revolution, or the common sense evolution that's happening. And I think it's very much to do with that this week. So you may find that your heart's, in your emotions in your heart chakra this week, may be tied into a little bit of fire in your belly, as it were, in your solar plexus. So just be a little bit wary of that. Then, you know, if you do find yourself sort of boiling over or getting really frustrated about a situation, take time out, count to 10. Remember that the world's a bit of a mixed up place, and then re-engage in a very neutral aspect, because you'll only be causing, you know, havoc for yourself more than anything else. And there's no solutions that's going to come from that. The way we see the logical emotions is by taking a step back, basically, and that's what it seems to be like. And there's also there was quite a lot of heart as well, and there's not a lot of illusions, so there's not a lot of crown chakra in there. It's very, very practical. So it's it may be a case of explaining or expressing our emotions this week in a very logical sense, or in a very good connection with when we're speaking to people about what we feel and how we feel and why we feel and things like that. But obviously tied to physical aspects of life, The way somebody does something, physically does something, and it makes them emotionally happy or sad or upset or comforting and whatever it is. Just, it doesn't matter whether it's good or bad. I would explore it if I was you at the moment. So that's what it seems to be coming through there, especially with that filament energy that's sort of rocking through. Let's just reconnect to the earth again, the ley line. There we go, we're fully connected now. I'm just gonna wander off to the crossing point because I want to see what's going on in the center of the earth, because I want to talk about that pole shift energy. So I'm above the crossing point now, just going down into the crossing point, gradually go down the vortices or the vortex into the center of the earth and see what's going on there. It is very quiet. There's not a lot going on. The plasma ball that's in the center of the earth is very, very stable. It's very quiet, but then we haven't had a lot of solar flares this week. But it's not really moving a great deal, to be honest. It is moving, but not hugely. And the plasma that's moving around the central sphere of the earth is not moving quickly either. It's very stagnant, very soft, very sort of slow in its transition across the surface. Let me just put my hand onto that plasma ball and let's just see. Okay, so we're now just getting the message that is coming in from here. It's showing me like a bend in the road, like a real right 90-degree turn. It's like it's almost coming back around and on itself again and across. It's a lovely message. Family. Connecting with the people that are around you. Realizing that we're all part of one family, that sort of thing. That, even the trees, even the animals, everything is all part of one family. Planet Earth, as it were. Okay, let me just come back out, find that vortice that's reaching back up to where I came. There it is there. I'm just going to step into it and come out, come back across the land and back down in the body. There we go. Excellent. Okay. There was another part of it that I wanted to talk to you about, but I didn't want to talk then. Some of these groups of family were just disappearing. It could be this sort of changing energy that's bringing on things a lot quicker. The energy is getting a lot more compressed. And as we go into pole shift, we're going to get that sensation that it's becoming very much more condensed. And I think this is going to create a lot more sort of illnesses and sudden death syndrome sort of scenario as we go forward. And maybe that was the corner that it was showing me about, that we're going round a corner, as it were. Yeah. And, as I show you on this article here, the scientists have sort of said, or some scientists are saying that, because obviously these are only people, what they're saying, you've got to take everything into account. They're saying that the center of the earth, the dynamo has stopped. And there is a moment where it sort of slows down and then starts energetically spinning the other way, as it were, in the center of the earth, and then that gives us the whole flip through the whole system. I've been gradually looking at that, and the way that hurricane kicked off in Libya, also the earthquake in Morocco. There's been the sprites as well, which is lightning goes from the ground to the sky. The aurora borealis that's been coming down into the southern, much more south in the northern hemisphere. You know, we even had it in the south of the UK at points. It's been happening a lot. And when we see what's been happening on every other planet, we can definitely see that there is more signs saying, yes, we are in some sort of pole shift moment. The poles themselves are actually moving from the northern hemisphere. They're moving over from Canada, and they're going in a straight line since 1859 in the Caranting event, over towards Siberia and China. And then on the southern pole is leaving the Antarctica and is moving to Australia. The magnetic field has lost 30%, if not a lot more, of its magnetic field. And that's because the magnetic field, as it comes, it gets pulled into itself as we go into pole shift. It doesn't just turn like that. That's not how pole shift works, in a way. There's so many signs that's now pointing towards that I think this is what's coming down the line to us. And it's going to mess around with our chakra system. And this is why I do this work, to try and help people get in tune with themselves more than anything else. Your conversation with you and energy is really important. That's where you can really help out in this world, in this changing world, and be very prepared for that energy as it's changing in the coming future. So there you go. That's the energy update for this week. Thank you very much for being here. I do hope you get the best out of these sort of readings, these sort of energy updates. I'm trying desperately to do some more videos for Cymatic TV, all about sort of pole shift, my ley line system, the chakra system of the earth, and things like that. So if you subscribe, do click that bell, so then you'll get notifications of all those videos coming out. In the meantime, all for me left to say is, don't believe, just know, and please do have fun.